What's going on, y'all? So, in this video, I want to talk about how in Dubai they recognize crypto as a valid salary payment. Now, obviously, in my previous video, go check it out. In Thailand, they make crypto legal tender, and a couple other countries have this as well. So, what's going to be happening in the next several years, we're going to start seeing this trend continue in multiple countries around the world, is people are going to have the option to work for their digital fiat money, or they're going to want to work in Bitcoin. So what are they going to choose to do? A lot of them, they might be wanting to work in Bitcoin because the difference is that the money will not be inflationary. They work in fiat, it might be, easier for them to spend locally and transact, but with Bitcoin, it'll be easier for them to just hold for the long term. Now, people will not be able to actually buy Bitcoin in the future. It's going to be too scarce, it's going to be too expensive, and it's just not going to be enough of it. Too many people are going to be holding it, and they're just going to hold it for long term. It's not going to be seen as something you can just buy on the market and something that you can just, probably day trade. It's going to be a lot different from what we're looking at today. And obviously, it's not like I have a crystal ball and I could tell you what the market's going to look like. But we can already see the pattern from what we're looking at currently. We can see how much Bitcoin is just leaving the exchanges. And we already know that out of 19 million Bitcoin, because remember, out of the 21 million, if we take a look, circulating supply, there's only about 19 million right now that's out there. Plus, we have to take into account the amount that's been lost, that's stolen, that people can't even get access to. So in reality, there's not even 19 million Bitcoin out there. So with the little bit of Bitcoin that is available, people are not going to be able to just go out and say, all right, let me just go buy a couple of Bitcoin. It's going to be very, very difficult. People are going to be working for literal Satoshis. It's going to be so scarce. And, we'll probably be having to get to the point where people will be working for a few Satoshis a day. They'll probably be working for 100 Satoshis a day. And in America, from what I can see, a lot of people that I know are working for $20,000, $30,000 a year. And that's literally below the poverty line. If someone's making $50,000, $60,000 a year, that's probably around the poverty line, and they're even struggling. So I could tell you that much right now. But another thing is that for people who will be working for Satoshis in the future, we have to take into consideration that those Satoshis, they're going to be using them. Things are going to be more expensive in Satoshis. So for example, you'll probably be using your local currency to buy a bottle of water, which will probably be, who knows, let's say $5. But in Satoshis, you're not going to be paying 5 Satoshis. You'll be paying, maybe 100 Satoshis. So we can't even compare actual fiat to Satoshis as far as the number amount. All we know is that the dollars will be inflated and the Satoshis won't be. So it'll hold value more over the long term. So that's going to be something that will be very tricky to compare. And it's going to be very tough for people who don't own them already. And for people who do own them, they're going to be a lot more valuable for people who've held them over the long term, because the longer you hold it, the more valuable it'll be, knowing that you bought it at a cheaper price. And we can see that there are more wallets now who are just holding them and they're not selling them. They're just continuing to buy more and more. And just seeing these institutional investors buy so many of them really begs the question, what are they really anticipating? As far as the economy, as far as global currencies, and for people like you and I, what do they see as far as future of employment? When we see that there's companies out there who are going to be paying it for salaries, how much Satoshis would they expect to pay you? If you're working 8 to 10 hours a day, how much do you think they're going to pay you for 8 to 10 hours? 100 Satoshis, 500 Satoshis? That's a good question for us to ask. But, if you were to ask me, I would say they'll probably pay you like maybe 150 Satoshis if that. But you're not going to be paying the same dollar amount as you would in Satoshis. So that's something that's very concerning. And you're not just going to be able to get your fiat money and just go on the exchanges and buy Bitcoin. That's also very concerning. And I just wanted to talk about that because I'm seeing these retail investors feeling so fearful about the market right now because we have an election coming up. We have world economies, the global economy just looking very, very iffy. And people just feel like, oh, well, crypto's not going to go anywhere because, it's not a physical asset that you can touch with your hands. Well, people need to realize that everything you do on a day-to-day basis is digital. Your phone, social media. Most people are just swiping money with their credit cards already. So, what's the difference if most of your life is already digital to the point where, you're just using a different form of digital money? And this digital money is actually scarce, and the digital money you're using currently isn't. It's just a more valuable version of digital money that you're not able to print out of thin air. And this digital money isn't based on debt that the government creates. So if we take a minute to really think about this whole situation that's being created, then I think a lot more people would start to accumulate more Satoshis, and they really wouldn't think about how much profit they're making in the short term, because they'll realize that in the long term, people are literally going to be working for small amounts of Satoshis as opposed to just going on exchanges and buying, hundreds of thousands of Satoshis. So I just wanted to, ponder on that. But anyways, like and share the video. I'll see you in the next one.